Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. This one is player rankings where myself and George from Ingenuity Fantasy, if you don't know about Ingenuity Fantasy, go to the description, there's a link in there. It's a completely free website, ingenuityfantasy.com. They've got all sorts of good stuff. They've got a transfer wizard which helps you choose what players to buy. They've got match stats from Opta. They've got articles from all sorts of people within the FPL space. And they have the player ranking section, which is what myself and George will be talking through today. So we'll basically be talking through all sorts of different categories and positions: cheap defenders, cheap mids, cheap forwards, premium defenders, premium mids, premium forwards, and we will be ranking our top 10 players in each category for the next 5 game weeks. This one is midfielders, so let's get into it.
Right, welcome back to the midfielder segment, and then we'll kick things off straight away with cheap mids. So no movement at the top for either of us. You've got Matoma and Semenyo back ahead of Eze now. I've also kept Semenyo quite high. I know he hasn't returned of late, but I think there's some underlying things which we can still be encouraged by. No?
Yeah. I mean, I watched the West Ham Bournemouth game the other night. He had 5 shots. I think he hit the crossbar, he hit the post, something like that. He just looked dangerous, to be honest. The Bournemouth attack's really good, and Semenyo continues to just be greedy and take loads of shots. I mean, yes, he hasn't actually got any fantasy points in quite a while, but he's what you want from a cheap mid. Like, he plays good minutes. He did come off, actually, with what looked like an injury, but the manager came out and said that he's not injured, so that's fine. But in general, he gets very good minutes and he shoots a lot. So I think for 5.7 million, you can't go too far wrong, really.
Yeah, and it's also worth mentioning, Bournemouth just still do have great fixtures. They've got United, Palace, Fulham, and Everton in their next 4. So as far as fixtures go, there's absolutely no reason to bring him out either. So, I mean, if Bournemouth's attacks keeps firing, there's no reason he shouldn't bag a couple in that 4-game stretch. And then Eze. So I can see Eze starting to make his way down your list. I imagine by next week he'll probably be at 9 or 10. But do you want to tell me why you've still got him at 3 for now?
Yeah, so firstly, the reason he slipped is because of minutes. I didn't like that he came off early. I think he came off somewhere in the 60s. Against Brighton, which is far from ideal, to be honest. It does kind of seem like their Palace in general are less reliant on him now. I mean, last season, him and Elise were essentially the only creative outlets in the team, whereas now they seem to be getting goals from elsewhere. So I think they are less reliant on Eze, but I do still really like him. I think he does have some penalty share. Don't know how much, because Mateta took the last one, but I still think that he will take the odd penalty, and I do think his long-term minutes will be good. I can't see these early subs being a regular thing. So yeah, I still like him, and the fixtures,
the fixtures. I mean, as you say, the fixtures are only going to get better and better. So I do understand bringing him in at some point. He has traditionally been a talisman for them, so he does have that going for him. I am just a bit concerned, the role he had last year doesn't seem to be the role he has this year. Where last year, I think he had Elise maybe to create a bit more space for him. But at the moment, things just aren't flowing through him like we have seen them previously do for Palace, as evidenced by the fact, they scored 3 goals and without his involvement. So I think, I just need to see him get slightly more involved, and, I need to just be able to trust Palace with a bit more consistency before I think he enters my list. I think that's just where it is for me. And then, another talking point. So Kulusevski. So we've spoken before about how much, how good this Tottenham attack is, and, getting a piece of the pie there. The reason Kulusevski has entered for me now is because he's strung together 3 starts in a row. And this Tottenham, over this 3-game stretch, have looked quite good. Obviously they had a bit of a rough situation against Chelsea, but their attack looked good. So when we're talking about Kulusevski, this is, reasons for encouragement on my end. So I don't know where you stand with him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've mentioned almost every week that, yeah, the attack is very good. One of the best attacks in the league. One problem is that they are just really inconsistent. Like, against Chelsea, they look good. Against Southampton, they were obviously very good. But then against Ipswich, they were terrible. Against Palace, they were terrible. Two teams who, at the time, were playing bad. So they would typically be good fixtures. Another reason, I just don't trust the minutes. Even though he has got 3 starts in a row, which is obviously encouraging, I still don't trust it. And he probably is, well, he is one of their better attackers as well. So you'd expect him to get good minutes. But I just can't see it. He's been benched previously, and I think we will see another random benching, albeit, like you say, I think he is one of the better Spurs attackers for minutes.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, that's why I trust him over like Brendan Johnson, for example. He seems to have much more locked in minutes than Brendan Johnson. So, if Brendan Johnson continues to play this off the bench role and Kulusevski's minutes get surer and surer, that's when I think, he starts climbing even further up my list. Because anyone who resembles a under 7 million nailed attacker in that Tottenham attack is going to be worth a punt. And then the other debate, the one which is sort of consuming the FPL Twitter space at the moment, the Enzo v Ahmad. Me personally, I just prefer the profile of Ahmad. He's slightly more attacking. He looks like he's going to lock down that sort of, that inside forward spot, which, Amorim loves to play. So for me, just on profile and, where he plays in the pitch, I'm a madman. But, Enzo playing higher up the pitch with Chelsea's fixtures in that attack almost balances it out. So it's very, very tight.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know where I stand on it. I think firstly, I think they're both great. They're both incredible value. I mean, with Enzo as well, I was worried that if Lavia or Caicedo didn't play, then he would sit in this defensive role that one of them was playing. But we saw at the weekend that didn't happen. Lavia didn't start. Gusto started instead, and Enzo was still ridiculously high. Yeah. He had an average position that was higher than Jackson in the whole game. So, I mean, it's just stupid. Yeah. And their fixtures are a joke. The only thing with Ahmad is Ahmad's obviously incredible as well. He's the best player on the pitch at the weekend. Yeah. But the problem is, again, it's positioning. Like, he started 3 times maybe in Amorim's first 3 games at wing-back. I mean, that didn't really hinder his attacking output, don't get me wrong, because Amorim does seem to attack with wing-backs. And he got 3 assists in those games, I think, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. But again, it's whether we can trust those minutes. I think he is one of the players for United who will get better minutes. Him and Bruno are probably at the top, but there's nothing to split them for me. Honestly, I think they're both great.
Yeah. So if you had to pick one's going in your team. Gun to your head.
I think I'm probably going Enzo,
right?
But I don't have any good reason for that.
Well, it's good to know that we can let the viewers know that we've reached no consensus at all. So yeah, apologies for that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, both are great options. There is essentially no wrong option, to be honest. So whatever, it may be that if you've got 2 Chelsea already, if you've got Jackson and Palmer, then you may want to cover it with, you may want to go for Ahmad instead of going triple Chelsea. Or, if you've got like a Bruno and a Højlund, then you maybe go Enzo. So I think what works best will often be, specific to your team and how well it fits.
Mm-hmm.
And then premium mids. So for the first time ever, I think we have exactly the same list. I have finally come round to Son. He's just shown a bit more involvement recently, the sort of involvement that I was looking for. And yeah, as you say, it's come at the cost of Odegaard. Arsenal just look a bit out of sorts. They had that brief spurt when Odegaard came back where, everything looked to be going well. And, the attack and defence seem to be returning to normal. But I think what we're seeing at the moment is in the final third, Arsenal just look a shell of themselves.
Yeah, they just look predictable. They don't look like they've got like this killer instinct to be able to create something out of nowhere. They just look predictable, and Odegaard even came off early this week as well, which is kind of quite rare for him. So yeah, they have got good fixtures though. especially in the next couple of weeks. So it's kind of tough to not say that they're good options just from what we've seen in the past and because of their fixtures, but it doesn't look great.
Yeah, I think, we're talking about them having good fixtures, and they do, but Everton was meant to be, a good fixture as well, and they looked pretty slow in that game. I think Henri actually did quite a good piece about it. I think Martinelli is causing a bit of the hold up at the moment. He's not sort of stretching the defence as he should be. He's not taking on fullbacks like you expect from a Saka, and as you say, it's resulting in them having quite a predictable attack. And it means that if the corners aren't firing, or they're against a team who can defend a set piece quite well, like Everton, then if they just seem a bit lost for ideas at times, and I think that's why Odegaard slipped down for us. And then Fernandes. So congratulations if you held Fernandes.
I did.
Because Man United had congrats. Man United had a bit of a wobble, like just after Amorim came. But I mean, he looks good now. He looks involved. He's making runs in behind. Their fixtures are improving. So a hold for the near future then. Yeah,
I'm really glad I kept him, to be honest. There was a time before the City game or the game before that where there was probably a good out, really, because they had a couple of tough fixtures. But yeah, I decided to keep him, and I'm glad I did. I think he's good. Like you say, their fixtures are now much better. So yeah, I definitely think he's a hold if you've got him, and potentially even a buy if you haven't.
Yeah, and so I mean, if at the minute it's weird it feels weird saying it, but the United attack may actually be a decent pie to get a piece of. They're playing good football. And then Gordon and Bowen. I'm a Newcastle fan. Brad's a West Ham fan, so I think that's. I mean, we'd love to say that these guys could be higher, but I think what we're seeing at the moment, Newcastle are a bit inconsistent. We look good of late, but Isak is just the main man at Newcastle. So Gordon, is always going to be second fiddle there. But Bowen at 9 for you. He's not moving the needle for you.
It's more just a fixtures thing. I had him higher before just because we had some really nice fixtures. I don't think West Ham, that is, are doing enough to warrant kind of 7.4 million midfielder, even though he is playing up front. And he's not on penalties when Paqueta's on the pitch as well, which doesn't help. But I do think he's good. I just think that the only time you get a Bowen in your FPL team is when West Ham have got really good fixtures. I'm just not sure that's the case at the moment.
Yeah, fair. And then Mbeumo. So the keep or sell debate. Yeah, again, if you kept Mbeumo or if part of it was, luck with the Liverpool's postponed fixture, either way, congrats on that. I think down the line, Brentford's fixtures get pretty horrible. Game week 19, they've got Arsenal. 21, they've got City. And 22, they've got Liverpool. So I think for now, Mbeumo is a good hold. They've got Forest and Brighton in their next two. But yeah, would you recommend something similar, game week 19, to cash out with Mbeumo?
I think so, yeah. We've talked about Brentford before, where they're at home, they're incredible. Away from home, they're absolutely awful. So this week's a home fixture against Forest. I think he's absolutely fine to keep and play in that one. I also think he's fine to hold for that Brighton game, but after that, like you say, it gets really bad. And those bad fixtures, I think at least 2 of them are away as well. So, which is genuinely something you need to look at with Brentford, annoyingly. But yeah,
well, it's actually they're all at home, to be fair.
Fair.
Just had a check, but
I guess that then means that the easier fixtures in and around them are away fixtures.
Yeah,
which are
exactly.
Just either way, it's not good.
They got Brighton away, they got Southampton away, and Crystal Palace away. So they're either playing someone really good at home or someone easy away, and we know what their away form is. So if anything, I think it's worse.
Yeah, I think it's like we say, he's a hold for the next couple, but after that, I'd be thinking about moving him on for sure.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. Well, that rounds up the midfielder section. Let us know what you think of the lists, and let us know if you think there's anyone we've missed, and we will see you for the forward segment.
Okay, and that is all for this one. If you like the video, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you check out ingenuityfantasy.com for all the good stuff on there, and we will see you in the next one.